And call this meeting of the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is Monday, August 4th, 2014. Would you stand with me for the invocation? Heavenly Father, as we assemble here tonight, we thank you for the blessing we have of being part of this community together in Oskaloosa. We recognize your blessing comes with responsibility, and so our prayer is that each of us would be granted a humble spirit in all our deliberations, giving true due consideration to the trust the citizens have given us. Please grant us wisdom and honesty, integrity and high purpose. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Amen. Charlie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Charlie.
This door closed.
feedback.
Yeah. For those in the audience, we are trying something a little bit different that MCG has moved CRI has moved their operations over into that back closet area, and they're working the cameras from there, and that's where the staff is at. And so we're hearing some feedback from our voices going through their sound system and then coming back to us, kind of a stadium effect. And so as we work through that little bit of a difference, a little bit of a change, please bear with us. So with that, roll call, please.
Caligari.
Here.
Jimenez.
Here.
Moore. Van Zetten. First Day.
Here.
Walling.
Here.
Yates.
Okay, thank you. And next item on the agenda is community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community for concerns whether or not they're included on our current agenda. The community is encouraged to come and speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief. Time would be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions that are to be asked of city staff or council members or the mayor, we ask that be done prior to speaking to the full council, so that way concerns can be properly researched away, perhaps even answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would care to speak at this time?
Hi, I'm Hannah DeGeese. I'm Community Initiative Organizer for the Blue Zones Project, and my address is 816 Woodland Road, Oskaloosa.
Natalie Spray, Community Program Manager for Blue Zones Project. Address is 2660 305th Street.
Okay.
So, first of all, thank you. Good morning, Mayor and city elected leaders. We would like to provide a quarterly update for Blue Zones Project. Since kicking off our project in February with our first big event in April, we have had a great amount of success thus far, thanks to the leadership of our Power 9 and the support from key leaders in the community. The hard work of Blue Zones Project team and the extreme dedication from the large number of volunteers associated with Blue Zones Project, as well as the support from Oskaloosa community and residents in general. Knowing the amount of support and interest our project has, we thought it would be necessary to share some of the highlights and updates from our 5 sectors. So I will touch on the schools and worksite sector. The schools, we are currently working with a school policy committee built of a lot of different individuals, from superintendent, school principal, the health profession, and parents and teachers. We are working with the web developer at the school district to promote Blue Zones Project and the work that we're doing in the school sector, and aligning our strategy with working at the registration opportunities, orientation, and things like that. Excuse me. Walking school bus, we plan to launch on September 3rd. We are really excited about having a walking school bus in the school district. Working with other communities that have been very successful, we have aligned our strategy to do Walk Wednesdays. So that will be happening the first Wednesday after Labor Day and running through the end of October. We have a partnership with MCRF, the YMCA, and many work sites that will be providing qualified volunteers for that project. So we're really excited about offering that. For our work sites, we've had 23 work sites in the community that have signed and registered and said we want to be part of this initiative. 4 work sites have been designated as Blue Zones work sites, including True Bank, Mahaska Health Partnership, Bank Iowa, and Midwest One. Worksite Summit was held at the end of June. That included 12 worksites attending that and saying that they want to take the next step to validation. And Hannah will touch on a few other sectors.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you about grocery stores, restaurants, individual engagement, and volunteerism. So for grocery stores, we have 2 designated Blue Zones grocery stores. Both Hy-Vee and Fairway have had their designation celebrations in June and are continuing to promote healthy foods and how to make the healthy choice the easy choice by making healthy recipes easily available at the Fairway location and also offering a Blue Zones checkout aisle at the Hy-Vee location. Both locations offer a Blue Zones parking spot that is the farthest from the door for individuals to increase their walkability. There are 2 designated Blue Zones restaurants. Both On the Green and Hunter's Gifts and Coffee Cafe have met the designation requirements for becoming a Blue Zones restaurant. The Blue Zones Project Healthy Foods Committee is in communication with the owners in order to track progress and sales of the newly marked healthy food items on each of their menus. Individual engagement. As of this evening, 812 Oskaloosa residents have pledged to make the healthier choice through the Blue Zones Project Personal Pledge. Around 100 William Penn faculty and staff members, including coaches and the RAs, are projected to attend our Purpose Workshop on August 21st at the PAC Center. 40 individuals have signed up and attended the Farmers Market Cooking Demonstration, which was on July 15th. And our next demonstration will be Kids in the Kitchen, which is a collaboration with the Summer Lunch Program. This is designed to help the children who attend to learn how to create fun, healthy snacks for after school, considering school is coming up. Sandy Fell, the market manager for the Oskaloosa Farmers Market, said the market attendance has grown exponentially. All vendors have increased their sales, and some of them have to leave early because they completely sell out. Sandy Fell stated that the market's collaboration with the Blue Zones Project has given the market a whole new life. She looks forward to implementing the Blue Zones Project's ideas and activities into the market for years to come. 30 social groups, organizations, and work sites have invited us to visit with them and share what Blue Zones Project is all about. With 12 different events throughout the community have featured a Blue Zones Project booth or activity at their festivities. We continue to offer events such as potluck moais, purpose moais, and healthy cooking classes that help educate us all on a healthier living. And last but not least, volunteerism. 276 individuals have volunteered their time in some way, shape, or form towards Blue Zones Project Oskaloosa. These dedicated individuals have combined 600 hours of volunteerism since the project has launched in February. There's a lot to be excited about in Oskaloosa, and the healthier options are making our city a better place to live. With that being said, we would like for you to take a look and maybe even invite your friends or family to our next Blue Zones activity, which is Fit Family Fun at 4, and it's held every Sunday at 4 p.m. in the city square. It's a great way for kids to get involved and families to get involved to do something a little more activity maybe on their weekend. And do you have any questions for us? All right.
If you were running a timer, you would have noticed that went over 3 minutes. So I exercised a little bit of judgment on that. In the future, if you just let us know that you'd like to do an update, we can put you on the agenda, and it wouldn't need to be quite as rushed. So, is there anyone else who would care to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is the consent agenda. These are items who are routine in nature or where a unanimous council vote would be expected. And so I wanted to at least draw your attention to items E through I, that on this list we would have the scheduling of a public hearing for September 2nd, and that's to consider levying a special assessment against private property for cleaning up the property at 610 C Avenue East. There's a resolution for scheduling a public hearing for September 2nd, levying a special assessment against private property for weed cutting. Item G is to consider a resolution setting a date for a public hearing considering a proposed ordinance renewing the city's gas and electric franchise agreement. That's with Mid-American Energy and establishing a gas and electric franchise fee that would be 5% of the company's gross revenues. And that includes the city's revenue purpose statement for use of the franchise fee monies. And then item H is to consider a resolution approving the disposal of surplus city-owned equipment. We have some computers that are being sold from the library. And then item I, consider a motion directing me to draft a letter of support for the High Avenue East housing project. Do we have a motion for approval?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Caligari. Jimenez. Moore. Versteg. Walling.
Okay, that passes. Okay, this is item 6. This is the announcement of various vacancies we have on boards and commissions. The Building Code Board of Appeals, we've got 2 vacancies to fill upon appointment, serving at the pleasure of the mayor. It's a 5-member board that meets as needed. Currently, we have 3 males and serving with 2 vacancies. The Library Board of Trustees, we have 1 vacancy to fill upon appointment for an unexpired term ending on June 30th of 2017. It's a 9-member board that typically meets on the 4th Monday of the month. Currently, we have 3 males and 5 females serving with 1 vacancy, and as I understand it, that's a vacancy for a person representing the county or outside the city limits. Planning and Zoning Commission, we have 2 vacancies to fill upon appointment for unexpired terms ending on April 30th, 2015 and April 30th of 2017. It's a 7-member board that typically meets the 2nd Monday of the month as needed. 5 males currently serving, 2 vacancies. Board of Adjustment, we have 1 vacancy to fill. It's upon appointment for an unexpired term ending on April 30th of 2017. It's a 5-member board that meets as needed on the 4th Tuesday of the month. Currently, we have 4 males serving, 1 vacancy. And then last, the Water Board. We have 1 vacancy to fill that's upon appointment for an unexpired term ending on June 30th, 2018. It's a 3-member board that meets monthly, usually the 3rd Monday of the month. Currently, we have 2 males serving with 1 vacancy. Okay. Moving on, item number 7, the regular agenda, Part A. Is to consider an ordinance to vacate and sell a 120-foot by 16.5-foot of the north-south public alley that's adjacent to 211 North J Street. This is a first reading in the public hearing. The Terry Wolfswinkel, the owner of 211 North J Street, has requested that the portion of the north-south alley adjacent to their property be vacated. Mr. Wolfswinkel owns both of the parcels, 211 North J and 1112 B Avenue West, that's adjacent to the requested alley vacate. Proposed alley has been paved with concrete when the chiropractic clinic was built back in 2001. The city conducted a survey of households with direct access to the alley. Among the residents that responded, a total of 3 of them, 2 wanted the alley to be vacated and 1 does not want the alley vacated. Gary Fisher, the owner of Quality Car Wash located at 1101 A Avenue West, doesn't want the alley vacated because he indicated it will hinder the future expansion of his business as traffic exiting the car wash cannot have adequate access. This alley also contains Oskaloosa sanitary sewer, Mid-American Energy utility infrastructure, and MCG. Hence, easement rights will need to be retained for access to the above-mentioned utilities. Planning and Zoning Commission considered this item at their July 14th, 2014 meeting, recommending by a vote of 6-1, 6 yes, 1 no, that the City Council approve the alley vacate request. Commission member Holden Barnhart was opposed to the alley vacate. So I'll open the public hearing at this time. Is there anyone who would care to speak to this? Yes, sir.
I'm Terrell Wolfswinkel. I have Oskaloosa Chiropractic Clinic, 211 North J. Basically, just answer any questions. One of the reasons or request not to have it vacated was that it would prevent future expansion of his business. From what he told my wife and I at the last board meeting, the planning and zoning, that his extra stall that he would like to add to the car wash would take up at least 18 feet. The setbacks or side street would be anywhere from 7 feet to 10 feet, and there's only 14 feet from his current building to the lot line right now. For him to have access to get at my alley, he would have to cross my property to get there. There would be no direct access to the alley like he thought there would be when I pulled up the different zones and stuff like that on Google Map. The biggest reason that I purchased the alley, twofold, to eliminate the house that was there that was becoming somewhat of an eyesore and a challenge for patients to go by. Provide some extra parking for the clinic. Right now, with the vet clinic across the street, they really don't have adequate parking for them, so they'll park along the street, they'll park in my parking lot periodically. I take care of a lot of elderly people, and we have unidirectional traffic right now, partly because when I used to have they could go either way. We have some posts that are protecting a great big utility pole with a transformer on it. Those concrete blockades were hit about 6 times. They're even bent from people hitting them with cars. So when I put them in at an angle, they're no longer being hit. It was mostly a safety thing. Some of my elderly patients don't look that close when they back up. So by having other parking across the street, staff can park there, would give better access for the patients behind the clinic. And just by maintaining that traffic flow, patients know what's coming and going, and it's more of a safety factor as anything. So I guess mostly just here to answer questions if people have them.
Terry, do I understand it from your wife was at the P&Z meeting? You don't plan on doing anything with it? I mean, you know you can't build it right because it's got utilities under it.
Oh, I'm not going to build anything on the alley, no.
Yeah, so you just want to own it?
I really don't want to own it. I just want to make sure I can take care of the concrete, but if that means owning it, yes. I really don't care either way if I own it or not, but it just made more sense because I'm going to widen it the full width of the alley, add other parking to the other side. That way I can control traffic flow. In the past, when the previous owner had the property, people would park there blocking that flow through the alley, and that just became somewhat of a challenge at times. But yeah, I'm not going to build, if I build anything, it'll be on the lot, away from that another office
If you
space.
don't care if you own it, I'm voting against it because I don't see why closing it. Because the Fishers may want to use the alley, and it's an alley, so I don't see the benefit to close it.
He didn't say he was going to close it, did he?
Pardon?
He didn't say he was going to close it.
He's not closing it.
No, but he wants to own it.
What's wrong with owning it? He's already
Well,
paved the dog.
because then it's his property and you can't drive on it.
I don't see that at all.
No.
He's already spent the money to pave our alley, so why not let him own it?
He's already paved it.
That's what I'm saying. It'd be very unfair not to sell it to him. And I don't see how this is going to.
It's there for public
At
use.
this point, we're in the public hearing.
I know it.
Save the debate for a little bit. Any other questions?
We're just voting on the public, to have a public hearing.
No, this is the public hearing
This is
now,
the
but
public hearing.
we'll have the first reading after we close the hearing. Any other questions for Mr. Wolfswinkel?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yes,
The car wash guy who doesn't want it
Yes.
sold, are you indicating, or am I understanding that he couldn't put a stall there where he wants to because it's going to take 18 feet and only 14 of it is available to him?
From what he described to us, that stall size would be 18 feet. He has 14 feet from his building to the lot line, and I've got a picture of that if you want it.
We got a
And
picture,
if I
too.
remember correctly, there has to be a side easement of at least 7 to 10 feet. Mr. Paul, is that correct?
Is he wanting to put us on the east or the west side?
West side?
The west side. So that would line up fairly well with that alley then?
No.
It wouldn't.
No.
But he still has...
For him to line up with the alley, he'd have to be in the alley between he and Darrell Fisher's property.
But he still has the east-west alley right now that they used to exit the car wash.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't going to change.
No, it's closed on the west.
Right, it's closed on the west. He has the-
Darrell owns the
Right, he
west
has the
one,
east
yeah.
set.
And you want to own this so that you can change the parking right
Just to
behind-
add parking onto the lot that I just purchased in front of
And
him.
more parallel parking here. He's going to tear this one down.
It's already gone.
It's already gone.
Oh, yeah, and you own that property, okay.
Yes.
This one and the next one. though.
Okay.
Okay, no other questions from council? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who would care to speak at this time?
And this is the first hearing. We're on two more.
Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the hearing. Do we have a motion for approval on the first reading of this alley vacation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? We already did that. Yeah,
Yeah, we already did that.
thanks a lot. Roll call, please.
Jimenez?
No.
Moore?
I'm really torn on this, yes.
Versteg?
Yes.
Walling?
No.
Caligari?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion fails because there aren't 4 affirmative votes, correct? Because we're 3-2.
Yep.
What do, take a look. I think, let me look back, see what our ordinances provide. I'm inclined to think the majority of the quorum here hearing
Oh, okay.
on this one. As I recall, this is not one where we need a majority, something to do.
Okay.
I don't believe this is one of those.
Okay, so it passes. Okay, thank
It's
you.
passed.
Okay, moving on. Item B. Consider an ordinance to vacate and sell 237.5 foot by 16 foot of the north-south alley adjacent to 1210 A Avenue East. This is a first reading, and also a public hearing will happen on this. Vakshina Patel, owner of Budget Inn located at 1210 A Avenue East, has requested that the north-south alley adjacent to their property be vacated. The applicant indicated that they maintain the entire section of the north-south alley. The city conducted a survey of the households with direct access to it, and among the residents that responded, a total of 2, one of them wanted the alley to be vacated and one does not. CB Liquor, the property owner of 1202 A Avenue East, opposed the alley vacate, stating that this alley serves as a security measure for emergency personnel and also access to the pole building at 1202 A Avenue East. The pole building located south of the CB Liquor Store requires access from the southern portion of the subject alley. The alley also contains Oskaloosa sanitary sewer, CenturyLink, Mid-American Energy utility infrastructure, and so easement rights need to be retained for access to the above-mentioned utilities. Planning and Zoning Commission considered this item at their July 14, 2014 meeting, recommending by a vote of 7-0 that the City Council approve the alley vacate request. The commission indicated that CB Liquor can approach Budget Inn to get a driveway easement to access the pole building. And so I'll open the public hearing at this time. Is there anyone who would care to speak at this time?
Bill Lambert, City Liquor, we just want to reiterate what was said. We don't want it closed. We'd like to have it open for the police to go through, and I do have a pole barn back there that I get, that's my access. If it gets shut down, then I really have no way to get back there for anything.
So I'll probably ask the question that the rest of the council is thinking. So have there been conversations regarding you having an easement to this alley?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
I'm his wife, Carrie. No, there hasn't been any comment to that.
Okay.
No.
Has there been conversation between you folks as to this alley?
He won't talk to me, but he talks to Bill, and he's wanting to build onto that.
He wants to build more living space, and he said he's going to build to his property line. I said, well, I don't know why we're talking about it. I said, you can build to your property line, but he said, I want to own the alley. I said, why? There's no point. He said something about his safety for his kids and stuff, which I guess, but nobody uses that alley hardly at all.
We've had several break-ins over the years. Police have had to use that. We've caught people back in there. They've had to take.
That's where they break in at the back, and they try to come to the front.
And when they had the police dog, he used to be able to have to bring him in. If there's ever a fire, there won't be a way to get in there. If he builds on and blocks that alley, there will not be a way to get in there.
Okay.
His intent is to build onto the motel?
Onto his living quarters,
Which is part of the motel.
bottom. Yes, he'd want to build out into the alley. He's already had people
He lives
living
in
there.
here.
He's told them that he now owns it.
He lives in this section.
And they talked to Bill, the construction workers, because he was already looking to build on it.
Okay. Okay. So where are the living quarters located at?
On the corner, right?
Right in the front corner, I think.
It's right there
Front
in
corner?
the
It's in
front.
the front.
Okay.
Right there on A, and then it's that front part on 92 Murray Avenue, that front part,
Yeah,
he just wants to stand out.
Okay, to the
And
west.
and nobody
Oh, that's right.
actually maintains the alley.
I was down there today, I noticed.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
But he could build onto the end too, couldn't he? For his living quarters, build onto the south end, rather than build into the alley?
Yeah, I think so, on the south end, because I think he owns that behind him.
He owns, on that south end, he owns on the east.
Well, I'm sorry, the north end, I think, I'm thinking the north end. If he lives on the north end of the motel, that'd be
Right
the
there
one-
where they check in and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
got room there if he wanted to build out.
Is that where his living quarters is?
That's the alley, right? He's trying to buy.
I think he wants to expand going west, so basically.
Right, he wants to expand into the alley.
Yep, and he's got a 0 setback to his property line, so he
Right.
can build to the property line. And he's aware that he cannot build anything in the alley because there's utility infrastructure there. So he wants to go west,
So he wants to go west about 8 feet?
about wherever his property. I've told him to
About where
property
those,
locates.
about where those 2 sheds are sitting?
Yes,
There's
and
two
that based on what I went out, I tried to find, I didn't see any property pins. I've asked him to do some staking, and based on looking at it, it looks like the shed may be in his property, so.
We've never said anything about, he built to his property line, but we don't want to vacate the alley because of the security reasons. If it does get vacated, we would like to buy our half.
Did he bring that to the planning and zoning, I wonder?
7-0.
7-0.
No, I mean that he was going to build onto the alley when they voted, before they voted.
No, he said, I was there, he said he wasn't going to build on the alley, right? Keelish?
Right. He was not going to build on the alley.
I'm jumping in here because the mayor doesn't want us to debate now, but P&Z did a terrible job passing this one on too, because they tell him to get an easement after the fact. Well, look, they can't, if the guy doesn't want to give him one, he won't get one. It's a public alley now, and you got to get that worked out before you close it.
Yeah.
And it's the same situation on the other ones, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Tom, I agree with you on this one.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would care to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion in support of vacating and selling the north-south alley? Going once. Okay, that'll fail for lack of a motion. Moving on. Item C, consider a resolution levying a special assessment against private property for weed cutting by the city of Oskaloosa, Iowa. This is in accordance with section 8.20 of the city code. It's a time for a public hearing on levying special assessments against private property for weed cutting. As outlined, there's an exhibit here of 4 owners. Certified notices were sent to each property owner, and a notice was published in the Oskaloosa Herald. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would care to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do I have a motion supporting this resolution levying a special assessment against the private property owners? Okay. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Moore? Yes. Versteg?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Caligari?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item D. This is to consider a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost of the South 11th Street Rehabilitation Program. We'll be opening up a public hearing on this as well. The City of Oskaloosa Engineering Division staff has prepared plans and specifications for the South 11th Street Pavement Rehabilitation Project. The scope of this project includes, but is not limited to, milling the existing pavement, asphalt overlay, concrete pavement reconstruction, full depth and partial depth patching, repairing the concrete curb and gutter sections, new ADA accessible sidewalk ramp reconstruction, sidewalk and driveway pavement replacement, storm sewer intake rebuilds, alley approach improvements, and other related construction along South 11th Street, going all the way from A Avenue East to 15th Avenue East. Engineering estimate, $732,875. If the project is awarded, then construction is proposed to commence in late August to early September, depending on weather. Anticipated work completion time is 60 working days. So due to the length of time required for this project, construction work may be suspended during the winter. If construction is halted in winter, then the construction work would begin in the spring of 2015 as soon as favorable weather conditions return. So I'll open the public hearing at this time. Does anyone care to express their opinions concerning the project plan, specification, form of contract, and estimate of cost? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Do we have a motion for approval? Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
First Day?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Caligari?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Moving on to item E. This is to consider a resolution approving the award of contract for the South 11th Street Pavement Rehabilitation Project going to Norris Asphalt Paving Company, amount of $696,087, and authorize the city manager to utilize an additional 10%, which would be $69,600 for a project contingency. The South 11th Street Rehabilitation Project was advertised, bids were received, and then publicly read on July 30th. There were 2 bids as indicated in the attached tabulations. The low bidder was Norris Asphalt Paving, the amount of $696,087, and that came in 5% below the engineer's estimate of $732,875. If the project is awarded, like I mentioned earlier, construction would commence in late August, depending on the weather. Anticipated work completion, 60 days, but that may be interrupted due to the weather, and then if that happens, it would start up again in spring of 2015. If council awards the construction contract, then staff is recommending authorizing an additional 10% of the contract amount, $69,600, as construction contingency for unforeseen circumstances, and also to authorize the city manager to execute all related contract documents contingent upon receipt and approval of insurance and bond documents. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion?
I should have said it the last one, but I think that both the wastewater and our water department get an attaboy for getting over it, because we switched on them, and they've been doing a lot of work there, right, Achilles, to get ready to do this yet this year, because third failed, so I appreciate that.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Walling?
Yes.
Caligari?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
First Day?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item F, consider an ordinance amending Oskaloosa City Code Section 6.04.090, dangerous dogs and other dangerous animals. It deletes the current section and substitutes a revised section. This is the second reading, where this ordinance addresses the issue of dangerous dogs and other dangerous animals. City manager has requested changes to the ordinance to clarify definitional terms, clarifying requirements relative to dangerous animals, and also modifying the Animal Review Board and Appeals language by removing the city manager and a council member from that board. It's proposed that the current section 6.04.090 be deleted and that a new section .04.090 be substituted in as shown in the attached ordinance that's in our agenda tonight. Do you have a motion for approval on the second reading?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Caligari?
Yes.
Jimenez? Moore?
Yes.
First Day?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item G, consider an ordinance amending the city code of the city of Oskaloosa by amending provisions pertaining to section 10.48.030, that's angle parking, by allowing angle parking on the portion of North K Street. And this also is the second reading. The Public Works Department is requesting to update the current code to reflect the 1107 A Avenue West site plan and their on-street parking improvements along the east side of North K Street. Presently, there's a 50-foot-long gravel area on the east side of North K, adjacent to the Great Expectations restaurant that serves as on-street parking. The proposed site improvements to 1107 A Avenue West indicate a plan to convert this gravel area into a concrete surface in order to accommodate 4 angled on-street parking spaces on North K. Staff is recommending that the City Council approve amending sections 10.48.030 to accommodate the site plan improvements at 1107 A Avenue West. So do we have a motion for this?
So moved. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
First Day?
Yes.
Walling?
Yes.
Caligari?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Moving on, item number 8. This is reports on items from city staff. The city manager is not here. City clerk, anything?
No, sir.
City attorney, anything? Okay. Moving on, item number 9. Every calendar quarter, give or take, we have an opportunity for the city council members to update the rest of the council on what's happening on the various boards and commissions that they've been appointed to. With that in mind, I'll go ahead and start. I'm on the Mahaska County Conference Board that works with the assessor. We have not met since the last update, and so there's nothing really to report at this time. Emergency 911, Tom Walling.
I passed this out this time. Randy Frazier does a fairly good job of running the 911. I've learned a lot in attending these meetings. The dollars are big dollars, so you might want to read it and look at it. And regulation keeps creating, we have a system that works, and Jake and the chief could address that better than I can. But there's going to be upcoming expenses to do this. And the way I've understood the largest problem of funding has always been they fund it through the state level with cell phones and landlines, but as we all know, pretty soon you aren't going to have a phone book because there aren't going to be landlines. And so they're losing that funding, and the state's been a little bit remiss. I think they did help last year in changing the funding off the cell phones. But the 911 emergency is very important, but it does cost a lot of money to have that. And Randy's got a pretty good report here. I think he would come talk to us if we ever wanted that, if anybody was interested, or he's always willing to have you stop in there. That's usually what I do.
Thank you, Tom. Let's see, Doug Yates is on the Enterprise Zone Commission. He's not here tonight. Housing Trust Fund Committee, Joe Caligiuri.
I believe we did two housing demos from the last meeting. Yeah. So we did a lot of demos. A lot.
A lot more to go.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How many do you think, huh?
How many blocks do we have?
That's about it, really.
Okay. I see you're down for the Housing Trust Fund. No, excuse me, the Oskaloosa. No, I'm next. Oskaloosa Area Chamber Development Group. I'm on the chamber board. At the last meeting, they reported that they had had a really profitable effort with the Friday After 5. It's amazing how if none of the events get rained out, you can make some serious money at that. So that was a successful thing. They also reported that we have hired a chamber director, Valen McReynolds, should be starting, I think, next week. We're also continuing the process to work with Mahaska Development Partners, the M-Card, Main Street, that sort of thing. As we have a chamber director hired, now that it improves our opportunities for working cooperatively. Now we've got somebody sitting at the table. Let's see. Joint County Mahaska Disaster Services and Emergency Planning Administration. Aaron.
Okay, we haven't met, but it's my understanding that we did purchase the bus barn from the school, according to Charlie anyway. So it's a done deal, and we are in the process of moving in. That's it.
Okay. I think you're also down for Joint Law Enforcement Center?
Yes, we haven't met.
Okay. Mahaska County Agency on Aging.
We're still in the process of trying to eliminate our mortgage and the fundraising drive. And as of today, it's been very successful. It looks like it's going to be a success.
That's good news.
We do expect $1,000 from each of the members up here at this panel, though. So.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What's in that Coke?
That's it.
Okay, last one on the list, Mahaska County Rec Foundation. Anything to report, Scotty?
I don't have much to say because Sherry reported to us last meeting and gave us this copy. And I'm sure most of you saw in the paper the generous contribution made by the Dross family to the soccer fields, which will go a long way toward building some really nice soccer fields out there.
Okay. Those are the planned items. Anything else, Joe?
No, nothing.
Okay, Aaron?
I'm sitting here with you guys and missing the front row challenge for the first time in 12 years. My pickup's in there, but I'm not.
Mistake.
What?
Mistake.
Do you think so?
I don't know.
That's all.
Nothing, sir.
Tom? Okay, I don't have anything in addition to that. Next item on the agenda is consideration of holding a closed session under Iowa Code Section 21.5.1.c to discuss strategy with counsel on matters currently in litigation or in which litigation is imminent, where disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the city's position. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So second.
They're here to talk about that housing apartment, but it was.
Wasn't that in the consent?
They want to speak.
Okay, let's take the vote on the closed session first. Okay. Roll call.
Moore,
Yes.
Versteg,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Caligari,
Yes.
Jimenez.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. It's been brought to my attention that, Lyle, you're here to talk about the housing project on A Avenue, between A Avenue and High. And it was on our consent agenda to go ahead and have the hearing on that, but I didn't know if you had any additional information you wanted the council to be aware of.
I don't have anything additional right now.
You even got to go to the microphone to say you don't have anything to say.
Todd Roach. We just found out a few weeks ago that this funding was available and to develop some infill lots where previous housing had been but is gone. And so we identified this spot. And part of the process is just getting kind of a preliminary support from the city saying it's zoned right, we agree with the concept. Obviously, there's a lot more details if we receive funding and go forward and go through a site plan and planning and zoning and all that. But
Todd, is it income-based or is it just?
it is linked to income. The project we have would be for 5 years. We would have to have at least 51% of the occupants meet income guidelines. So, which is for a single person is $37,000. Two-person household, 40,000. So it's fairly restrictive. So 4 of the 7 units that we would plan to build, the residents would have to meet those guidelines. After the 5 years, and it's open to free market value. So it is zoned R3. We've met tentatively with Michael Schrock, with the Keelish, Mark Neff, and their concerns, and so there weren't any major hurdles, it looks like, that we come up against. So I think we can probably be within the setbacks and not have to ask for variance on that. So it's a pretty big funding, so it's a good opportunity to go forward. But from what I understand, there's a lot of people submitting projects too, so it'll be pretty competitive.
And I think the study shows that we need way more.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
even what we're doing out west, it's just more housing, right?
600 some units.
So the funding came from leftover money from the floods, Cedar Rapids area and such, and it hasn't all been given away, so they've had multiple rounds to try to exhaust those funds, and so this is the 6th round, and so one of the criteria is infill of previously developed lots. So these have been empty for 30 years. It used to have 2 houses and a garage on these 3 lots. And 30 years ago, approximately, Vernie Wells purchased them to try to consolidate them, and he had plans to put together I don't remember how large, but a fairly large apartment complex there. But at that time, the city did not have any kind of tax abatement program. And so he didn't have any funding like this from the government, and without the tax abatement, it just didn't work for him. So it sat for 30 years. Correct. Federal money has come to the state.
Vacant project? If it's federal money?
It's limited to the size. So we're looking at 7 units that would fit there, so we actually wouldn't apply to that criteria. If it's 8 and up, then it is.
Any additional questions or comments?
Size of the apartments.
I'm sorry?
Size of the apartments.
Oh, so they're pretty nice apartments that we're proposing, 2-bedroom, 2-bath with garage, including the garage. It's in the neighborhood of 1,400 square feet. Individual units without the garage is about 900 square feet. So 2-story townhouse kind of style.
You flip that fast at home, Dylan.
So,
They look nice.
Any other questions? And Dave, I'm happy to consult with you if you need any more information to prepare a letter. Or,
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
all right, thanks.
Thanks.
With that, I think I'll go ahead and call the council into closed session. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here tonight.
Oh.
Thumbs up. So, okay, I'm going to call this meeting back into open session. Do we have a motion approving a remediation agreement between the City of Oskaloosa and Russ Parker?
Second.
Okay, and the remediation involves a payment of $4,000 to him in satisfaction of his reducing the height of the roof and also the walls of a structure. Okay. Roll call, please.
Walling?
Yes.
Calgery?
Yes.
Jimenez?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Versteg?
Yes.
Okay, that passes. And with that, we're at the end of the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Still at 17 minutes, believe it or not.